Hello and welcome back, guys. So if we look at the quantity here, we have a slight problem. So I'm going to put a 0. Now before we go to the problem with quantity, let's look at another problem with numbers here, because not only can there be a 0 here, there can be an empty string like this. There could be empty strings. So if I hit search on the price, you see that in the URL the price is empty, but it's there. So we haven't really accounted for that. So if I come back to my admin controller here, what we can do is just cast everything to integer here. So actually price is not really an integer, it's a float. So let's put float there like so. I don't know if that is a valid thing. It's either a float or a double. Let's add float, shall we? Let me see if that doesn't change anything. However, on the quantity, because it's an integer, it doesn't have decimals, we can use int like so. Okay, so let me come back here and hit search just to make sure that we didn't get any errors. So with these, it's empty. So if it's empty, it's cast to a 0. So, but we could offer a check here, which doesn't take much time. So we can say is set that and trim, and also trim. Let me do a duplicate here. Min price is not equal to empty, and also you can add one for the max price, sorry, just to be sure that they are not empty. So we can do the same thing here. Let me just duplicate that. Oops, there we go. So let me remove this there. I was supposed to change that to max. Let me do the same thing here again. Empty, and max as well is not equal to empty. But if for some reason there's another value, let's just cast them to int, and here we'll cast them to a float. Okay, great. That looks good. Now let's go down here and add it to the list as well, just like we add mini quantity here, mini price. Okay, so these are already added here. So the other issue I was talking about is the number here doesn't seem to repeat. So if I add a number here and search, it comes back to 0. But I think maybe I may have missed to write max somewhere. So let me just test if I wrote one of these instead to represent that. So what I'll do is I'll add a few numbers here and see which of these numbers repeats there. So let me search. Okay, so I get a 10, which means I wrote that one here as well. So that's an easy fix. Let me go back to this is product.php, and right here when I give the sticky information, I wrote the wrong one. So just change that to max from min. Okay, I think that does it. And also, instead of any year and any category, I think we are better off using the word select like this. So change that as well from any category to select category. Okay, great. So we need to go back to the class as well. Is it the class or maybe not? Just a minute here. Nope, it's not here. We have to go to the admin area where we are expecting something here. Let's see. There must be one of these where we're expecting any year or any category. Ah, there we go. So change the any to select like that. Okay, great. Things are looking up. So let's give it a try. Let me refresh the page. So select here, select category. Everything should be working fine now. So let's try and give it a search for a quantity of 0 to 10. Let's try that and hit search. So there's 0, there's 100 there, so it means it's definitely not working. Search again. Definitely not working. So like I did before, let's try the query here once more. Let's echo the query. So query, this is the only remedy to these problems. Save there, and let's run it again. Okay, so there we have a query there, and it goes to let's see what happens here. Okay, so it doesn't do any of this at the end. It doesn't have a where clause at all, I should think. Yeah, it doesn't have a where clause. So up to there it goes just fine, but let's see here. So we do have main quantity. Okay, let's see what makes it tick here. So let me come back here again. Okay, so the quantity must be set. Oh, I see what the problem is. That's because we put a 0 on the minimum. The minimum can be allowed to be 0 though. So I think what we can do is on the min, let's remove this and that looks for the min, because I think we can allow a minimum of 0. Save that. Let's try again. Search. Okay, that looks much better. Now let's see why we don't have a result. So prod.quantity between that, prod.price between 0. Okay, between 0 and 0. So that's where the problem is. So price, this is okay. No, actually that wasn't cool. Let me undo what I did here. So instead of looking for min, let's look for max here. I've just undone those two, because at least the maximum shouldn't be 0, because if we have a maximum of 0, then it means whatever, it doesn't really matter what we put in the minimum. If the maximum is 0, then we are likely not going to get any results. So let's use that as a search criteria. So I'll hit that button again. Okay, so it's working now, and I have some results down here. So let me go back to the down here actually and remove the query echo. Let's do that. Come back and refresh again. Very nice. So now we have quantities only up to 10, which is good. Let's look at the prices now. Let's look at a price only up to 10, shall we? So let's do the same thing here, search again. Okay, so our numbers have reduced. This is a combination of 10 quantity, 10 price. So things are looking up. Let's try year as well. Let's add that. Okay, good. Let's try and add categories now. Let's just get drinks only from this criteria. Okay, the search is narrowing even more. And then if we add alcohol there, search, then we only get 1. Let's even narrow it more. Let's try in a different, so that we don't get a result, in a brand that doesn't have this, and then we have nothing. Good. Let's try Ron Hill. Good. Okay, so the search is working awesomely. Very, very nice. So what we need to do now is copy this same search and add it to the front page here so that we can have an advanced search. However, On the search for customers, it wouldn't be nice to use these text boxes for quantity, because customers tend to be, or users tend to be lazy. So what we will do is we're going to use JavaScript to update this content here instead. Because if you remember very well, if I open the original template here, you see that it had a range, a price range here. So we can copy this price range here and use it for our purposes. We can use it for, we can use it for both price and quantity. I think it's a good tool so that people can just select. So we're going to replace these with that. All right, so let's meet in the next video where we take this advanced search to the flip side. One thing I forgot to check for though is if the pagination actually works for these things. So, let's see. Let me remove everything there and just search for Ron Hill. Search. No, so there's only one brand. Let's add more, shall we? Specific brands. Okay, so there's only 2-3 things here. We can't really test pagination, but I should think it still works here without a hitch. Search. Why is the search, category there, right? No wonder. That's why I was wondering what's going on. Okay, so it seems pagination works. Let's see if we just type, let's add these 2 brands there. And let's see if we can go to the next page. And okay, so pagination does work still with this, which is awesome. So now that we are done with this, let's take it to the other side and help people narrow down their searches for your products. See you.